So what do we do now that Nico knows? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we're here with episode 7 of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So last episode we got Daredevil, just kind of randomly thrown in there. He's investigating Fisk, which, or not Fisk. Why did I say Fisk? Probably because Daredevil, the connection. Um, he's investigating Norman because Norman's up to some shady shit. What's new? But we're starting to really have doubt thrown on us about Norman in this series because Norman prior to this has kind of been on the up and up from what we've seen, but now we're having that doubt thrown in there. There's also the one other chick, the one other intern who's like sneaking around. Is she working with Daredevil? Is she doing her own thing? What's going on there? But Harry ended up letting the beans spill that Nico or that hair or that Peter is Spider-Man. And now Nico has found out for sure, and she feels betrayed. Not because he's Spider-Man, but because he didn't tell her. And I mean, I don't think it would be an issue if Harry hadn't known. Because here's the thing. Was Peter in the right or wrong for not telling Nico? I think he was right to not tell her. Because it was obviously he didn't want to tell people and put them in possible danger for knowing the secret. But he shouldn't. I mean, he shouldn't have, in the first place, started working with Norman. And he shouldn't have really brought Harry into Team Spider-Man either. It's like he's making all these mistakes. Nico is not the first thing he's done wrong in the way the exact way he's handled it. It won't be the last. This is kind of like that Parker luck coming into play. Peter is just, kind of a beacon for situations that turn out not how he planned. This bad luck is hitting him here, and it's gonna keep being an issue for sure. But yeah, I think it is the fact that Harry knew, because from her perspective, she doesn't know that he just found out. She doesn't know that he just ended up seeing it happen. From her perspective, she probably thinks that Peter entrusted him with this information, but not her. She's feeling pushed out as his best friend. And considering, like I've already mentioned, he's really the only, like, notable friend she has, she's probably feeling really down about this. Because it's like, she hasn't connected to others the way Peter has, like with Lonnie or even Pearl to a degree. Like, she's nice with them and familiar with them, but she's not what I would call friends with them. Peter's all she really has. And so the idea that Peter starts suddenly hanging out with Harry Osborn, someone like I mentioned before, she doesn't even like because of, being a rich kid and all. But on top of that, he starts hanging out with him and suddenly Harry knows this big secret that she didn't. That's going to look suspicious to her. That's going to lead to problems. And again, Peter has not been handling this well. He was right to not tell her initially. But I do believe that once Harry found out, like, one, he should not have been putting Harry, who knows his secret, in a situation where he would interact with Nico, who doesn't know, if he didn't want Nico to know. If he wanted to continue keeping it a secret from Nico, he should have not had these two in contact with each other. He should not have been trying to make them into friends as well. That was another mistake he made. Trying to make them friends just because he was friends with both of them was a big, big mistake. Because in the end, like, he's trying to keep Nico safe, trying to keep her away from all this, trying to keep this a secret from her. Putting her into a situation where she would be talking with Harry, especially leaving them alone, Mind you, he wasn't really given much of a choice in that matter, but it was a bad decision. After, like, he shouldn't, again, have brought Harry into Team Spider-Man, but after he did, at that point, if he was going to try and hang out with Harry more and more and become actual friends with him, he needed to tell Nico at that point. At that point, it's like you can't get over it anymore. You can't, like, ignore it. You can't, like, pretend that it's just not going to come out at some point. With everything that had happened by that point, he should have told her there. Specifically there. Prior to that, no. But at that point, he didn't really have a reasonable choice anymore. Not if he wanted to, like, you know, keep both of them as friends and not cause all this trouble. And we're seeing the aftermath of that now. We're seeing how it's playing out. She left and everything, like, really upset, like, crying. Because, again, she feels betrayed. She feels like the one friend she has is replacing her with this Nepo baby who doesn't even really know what tarot is. Like, I don't know everything about tarot, but even I know you don't, like, just flip over the next card. It's like, come on, Harry. Also, like, telling someone who's very into tarot and very clearly into it that you just like it as a fashion accessory is really brain dead. Like, you just don't do shit like that. Like, I have friends who are into stuff like that, tarot and gemstones and whatnot. I don't get it personally, but I'm not going to say something that stupid to their face. If they start talking about that stuff, I'm going to pay attention and I'm going to listen, and I'm going to, even if I don't get it, I'm going to support them in it. But I'm not going to say, like, ooh, yeah, shiny rock look cool, or some stupid thing like that. Granted, I tend to say stupid shit sometimes because, you know, my brain betrays me. But I'm not that dumb. But yeah, it's just, this was a recipe, like, for disaster waiting to happen. It was never going to turn out well. Like, if he had told her, I feel like she might be a little shocked and might need some time. But I think she would have appreciated his honesty and openness. But her finding out from Harry and finding out that he already knew, like, yeah, she has a right to be upset. From her perspective, she has a right to be upset. It's definitely a different case than, like, some scenarios where this kind of thing might happen. It's a very different kind of situation. But let's see how this goes, because on top of Peter kind of messing things up, Lonnie's been messing things up. Scorpion is getting outfitted with his new tech from Doc Ock. I like how Doc Ock, by the way, is just kind of, like, in the background right now. He's not actually, like, a, like, active villain. He's like, helping the active villains. I think he's going to be probably the main villain of Season 2, if I had to guess. But yeah, like, everything is kind of getting set up for the finale. There's 10 episodes, so there's 3 episodes after this one. We're definitely going to start getting into the big stuff. I assume Peter's going to start, like, wondering about Norman and everything. Maybe we'll find out that he's not so trustworthy. I'm very curious to see how this ends up going by the end. And are we ever going to get explanation for the symbiote in Doctor Strange in episode 1? We still haven't gotten any explanation for that. But either way, let us get into this episode and see what happens. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I believe, like, Scorpion was, like, Spider-Man's very first villain in the comics. And so having him be, like, the first major villain, the first main villain of this series is very fitting. Even if he's not technically the first villain that Peter faces, he's the first big one. And again, mind you, the strings are kind of being pulled in a way by Doc Ock, who's, giving him all this tech in the first place. But Mac is the main villain of season 1 for sure. I think that's just a smart idea. And making him, like, genuinely threatening, genuinely scary, is a great concept. Because, like I said, this Peter, he's only been Spider-Man for, like, what was it, like 5-6 months, something like that? It's been a short amount of time. He's still fairly new at this. This isn't like when you play, like, the Spider-Man PS4 game, where he's been Spider-Man for, like, a decade by that point. No, this is a new, fresh Spider-Man who is still learning the ropes. He's gotten a lot of it down, but he doesn't even have his spider sense yet. Though, there was that one moment near the end where it's like, before Mac started breaking out, Peter, like, seemed to sense that he was about to. I wonder if that was the spider sense starting to come in there. I think it might have been. Like, the very first bits of that. But this is still, like, very new for him. So he's already had to face these enemies with these, like, technical enhancements, thanks to Doc Ock. But, or I keep calling him Doc Ock, but he's technically not Doc Ock yet. He's just Dr. Octavius. He's Otto. But he's even struggled with some of these other enemies, like Unicorn, for example, Mila. He's had his struggles with this tech that Otto is crafting, which is going to make, when he actually becomes Doc Ock, like, an even bigger threat than Scorpion. Because the thing is, Peter is struggling with just Scorpion's one tail. Imagine how he's going to struggle with all of Doc Ock's extra arms. Think about that for a moment there. But it makes sense, because this is stronger than anything he's ever faced. Plus, with Mac's, like, unwavering, like, intensity and his inability to just give up, to the point where he's pushing himself so far he's, like, burning his suit with the gamma radiation into his flesh. Like, this is a villain that Peter has just not faced the likes of before. This is someone who is so determined to cause havoc and mayhem, so determined to hurt people. Like, we saw, he, without hesitation, fucking murdered a dude. Like, aggressively. He impaled a person on his tail. I mean, mind you, he also stabbed right through Peter, but that was in the shoulder. Like, he killed a person with ease. He was flinging people around and probably at least causing, like, major harm to them. It's like, this guy is not just, like, a gang leader. Which, they kind of, like, introduced him as such, but we can see here he's not just a gang leader. He's a psychopath. He is an active psychopath who is not only willing, but wants to kill. He wants to kill people. He wants to be the strongest and the best. He wants to have dominion over others. It makes him feel good. That's why he was throwing a fit, why he was so angry when Peter was able to escape with the Goblin Glider. Which is definitely not going to be called the Goblin Glider yet, at least. Because his prey got away. His prey escaped, and that pissed him off. Because that means that someone was able to survive him. Someone was able to get out of his sights. He is going to be hunting Spider-Man from this point on. And it made a point in one of the earlier episodes of saying that Mac Gargan used to hunt people down. He used to track people. He's got. I'm very convinced he might find out who Peter is. He might find out that Spider-Man is Peter. And either way, he's going to like fully be hunting down Peter. Peter's not going to be able to do anything. And without like as Spider-Man, without being like attacked or even worried that he's going to be attacked, which Mac is absolutely going to be playing into, I feel. But like when Nico sees and finds out that Peter's been like heavily injured here, like she's probably going to be really scared, and she might understand now because she heard from Harry. She knows that Peter was doing this to protect her. Like I think she believes what Harry said there, but I think she's going to get it a little more seeing how injured Peter is. Because she's definitely going to see that. I do like that her and Harry have bonded. Like I said in the reaction, the way they were acting, especially at the end before he left, people are abso-fucking-lutely going to ship them. And I don't have a problem with the idea, actually. Because, like I said, her orientation has never been directly stated. We just know she likes girls. But like I said in the reaction, that means she could be bi or pan. Like, just because she likes girls doesn't mean she only likes girls. It doesn't mean she's a lesbian. I mean, I like girls. But I also like guys. I also like NBs. I like anyone. Not everyone, but I can like anyone. That there is a distinction there that some people just for some reason won't understand. Not that they can't. They just refuse to. But yeah, pansexual people like myself, it's like we have the possibility to be into anyone exists. But that doesn't mean we like everyone. It doesn't mean we find everyone attractive. It's just that we can find anyone attractive. Gender doesn't matter. Which Nico could be as well. She could be pan as well. We don't know. There was definitely a little bit of fuel there for a ship at the end, though. So I'm thinking she could be bi or pan. I fully believe it. I'm not against the idea of this ship either. Like, there is chemistry there. It's not the best chemistry necessarily, but it exists. Just like there is a bit of chemistry with Peter and Pearl. Their interaction in this episode was great. And I think Pearl still sees Peter as like a little brother figure. But there is chemistry still. I would say it exists for sure. And with Lonnie pushing her away because, again, he's also trying to protect her, I definitely think they're going to split up by the end of this season. So the possibility of Peter and Pearl getting together does exist. It could happen. And we finally see the part where Peter saves Pearl, like that was shown in the opening. And actually it was shown like right around the same time that Scorpion was shown in the opening too. So it's like, yeah, we actually get to see that. Even though Scorpion wasn't wearing his mask here, still, we actually got to see like that connected. And mind you, he just got Pearl to back to Lonnie, and so they could escape together and everything, but still. It's just wild how all of this has kind of gone down. And Norman now knows exactly where Otto is operating out of, but knowing Otto, he could find out that Norman found out about him. So that should be interesting to see if that comes into play at any point. Yeah, it's just, there was a lot that happened in this episode. Between the big, like, climactic battle to the character moments, specifically Nico and Harry bonding, the discussions of why both Peter and Lonnie are hiding their secrets, and, the excessively powerful parallels. And whatever the fuck is happening with Nico's necklace, I didn't forget that, by the way. What is going on with that? Why is her necklace alive? Because that's the vibe that I was getting, right? I have a feeling her necklace is speaking to her, and she's speaking to it. Because when she was like up there with Harry and they had the pizza and all on the car, like she said while holding the necklace, it's like, okay, I'll give him a chance, or whatever it was exactly. I thought that was weird, but I didn't think too much of it. But then in the car, she's like about to hit another car, and all of a sudden the necklace glows and she's able to avoid it and everything. It's like, no, 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 something's going on there. There is actually something to that. The thing is, I feel like I could believe either way, that option one, she knows about it and she's hiding that, or option two, she doesn't know about it and it's just like a subconscious thing that she's reacting to. I could believe either one. I have no idea what this is, because Nico's, I believe, a character in the comics, but one I don't know, like, pretty much at all. So it's like, I don't have really much to work off of there. I don't really have much to think about. I did like the Beetlejuice reference, by the way. Like, I didn't comment on that in the reaction, but I did like that. Also, I like the one dude correcting her, saying, like, no, if you're with the Beetlejuice reference, what you actually would have meant there was Lydia and everything. And it's like, that's really funny. That's just really funny. As someone who's a big fan of Beetlejuice, both movies, by the way, both of them are really great. I just thought that was a really fun reference. And they make references in this series. MCU can get away with it, even if this is an alternate universe of it. This is just fantastic. Like, this was a really good episode on so many levels. Even though so much was going on in it, it never felt too overstuffed. It never felt like it was poorly paced either. Everything, like, really fit in with how it was handled. I really liked this episode. Also showing how intense and scary Matt Gargan is here. Like, you know what this reminded me of in a weird way? Hear me out here. It reminded me of Kraven in the Spider-Man 2 video game. I played that on this channel. That was before I started my new gaming channel, but I played through the Spider-Man 2 game, and Kraven the Hunter is one of the main villains in that. And I talked about, while playing that Kraven was a character that I never really, like, focused in too much on. I never disliked him necessarily, but he never really appealed to me as much as other villains for Spider-Man. But this game turned me around completely on him and made him, specifically that interpretation of him, one of my favorite Spider-Man villains, period. It was so well written, so well done. I just loved everything they did with him. And funny enough, he killed Scorpion in that game. Kraven hunted and killed Matt Gargan in that game. So there's a little fun thing for you, too. But this is kind of reminding me of that, because it's like they're taking a character who I never really thought too much of. I never hated, but never really had a huge, like, interest in compared to other Spidey villains. And they're making him really interesting. They're making him really cool. And it also, like, reminds me that Matt Gargan was actually one of the people to wear the Venom symbiote, the Clintar symbiote that is known as Venom when bonded with a person. Matt Gargan is one of the people to be Venom. Like, it's not always just Brock. Eddie Brock is just the main host that we typically think of. Matt Gargan has been a host. Angelo Fortunato has been a host. Deadpool has been a host, weirdly enough. There's been quite a lot of hosts for the Clintar symbiote that we know as Venom. Even though the symbiote itself is not Venom. Again, Venom is the host plus the symbiote. In the Spider-Man 2 game, Harry is Venom. Harry Osborn. So there's been a lot of different people throughout the years who have had the Venom symbiote. So it's really interesting to see like these different comparisons I can draw with the second game. Um, this is gonna go really wild in these last three episodes. It's gonna get a lot more intense, a lot more serious, and I'm very excited to see where where exactly this takes all of that. Um, this is gonna be crazy, but we already have like seasons 2 and 3 confirmed. Like that's already set. And with how well this season did, like this season like did extremely well. It was like intensely well received. Exceived. It was intensely well received. And I definitely think that there's going to be like a big following for the future as well with this series. And honestly, I would love to see them make more animated series for the MCU because all they have all these shows that are live action stuff and they're great. A lot of them are great, but I want to see them do more animated stuff like this cuz with the multiverse thing, they could do more. They could do as many as they want. Um but yeah, this is going to be wonderful. I'm very excited to see how this closes out. But tell me your thoughts on this episode of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.